Who's going down this week? It's time for Upset Alert as we head into week 5 of the 2024 college football season. Again, we're taking the 8 games that we think are most likely to be upsets. And usually, at least 2 of those games do turn out to be upsets. We had 3 of them last week. So 3 upsets last week from the video. We had Illinois upsetting Nebraska. That was a great game going to overtime. Really, that one could have gone either way. And then USC Michigan, that one was also on the video. Michigan pulling off the big upset there at home in another game that really could have gone either way. And then the other one was BYU over Kansas State. That was a really interesting game there. BYU just had that big flurry there where the game was really close, and then all of a sudden they exploded with some big special teams plays and defensive plays, turnover. So BYU wound up winning big in that game. So those were your 3 upsets. Again, the average is usually 2. It's usually going to be 2 games, sometimes 1, sometimes 3. We have had it as high as 5, and very rarely there will be no upset from the video. So you look at this week, and there were a bunch of games where the spread was 3.5 points, and we like to go 4 points or more when we do these videos. I have in the past sometimes gone with a 3.5 point spread because it is technically more than a field goal. But I only will do that if I just really cannot find 8 games. And so this week I didn't do that, didn't pick any. So 4 points or more for the spreads. Let's get into it. Again, we're going from the least likely to most likely, in my opinion. Not saying these will all be upsets, but these are the teams that should be on upset alert. And we'll start with Penn State. So this is an interesting game here, 7:30 Eastern time on NBC. Penn State's favored by 17.5 points. So if you're looking for a big upset, I think this is probably the one that could happen. I don't really think that it will. Illinois is playing good football. Their defense is playing really, really solid. Luke Altmaier's playing much better, taking care of the football. So Illinois is a good football team. And for Penn State, we just don't know for sure. I mean, they look great against West Virginia, but then against Bowling Green, not so much. So yeah, it's just, I'm not sure about Penn State. I'm not sure how good they are. And we know Illinois is a solid team. We know their defense probably going to keep them in this game. That's a big spread, 17.5 points. I think Illinois' defense is good enough to at least keep it closer than that. But to pull off the upset, it's probably going to take a lot. But yeah, this is my first pick. Again, Penn State on upset alert this week. Next, we got Florida State SMU. So SMU on upset alert here. It's the first time that Florida State's been an underdog in a game, even though they're just 1-3. This game's on the ACC network. It's at 8 o'clock Eastern time, and SMU's favored by 5.5. We saw an offensive explosion from SMU last week. Florida State's not a very good team, but their defense is starting to figure it out. Their defense is coming around. They're playing much, much better on that side of the ball. So I don't expect Florida State to be able to do a whole lot offensively just because they've been so terrible, but their defense might keep them in this game. You know, SMU went up against a very good BYU defense, and BYU wound up pulling off that upset. So I could see, again, potentially an upset here. It's going to be tough for Florida State. They might need a pick 6 or a special teams touchdown to have a chance, but it wouldn't shock me if they pulled off the upset here over SMU. Next, we go to Minnesota, Michigan. This one's at noon Eastern time on Fox. This is the big noon game. Michigan favored by 9.5. Look at that over-under, 38. So not expecting a ton of points in this game. And so I think that Michigan, anytime they play even a decent opponent, they should probably be on upset alert, because if a team can stomp their run game, they're going to have a chance. I don't know if Minnesota can do that, but maybe they do. Maybe they hang around in this game. I think Minnesota's got a good enough offense, and they could score a little bit in this game. I don't see them scoring like 20 points, but I could see them scoring 17 in this game. That wouldn't shock me. So if it's really about Michigan's offense, and if you can take away the run game, they don't really have a passing game. And so I think that makes Minnesota a candidate to possibly pull off an upset here. Probably not. But also you've got the fact that Michigan is coming off of a huge win. So maybe a little bit of a hangover for them. I think this one is possible. It would be a big upset. But again, the spread's only 9.5. That's not a huge spread for where these teams are right now. All right, next we got Washington State, Boise State. This one's at 10 o'clock Eastern time. A late night game there. Well, not real late. Yeah, a little bit late. Yeah, FS1, Boise State favored by 7.5. This is an interesting game. Boise State's been pretty solid this year. You know, they really outplayed Oregon. Probably should have won that game. So Boise State's solid, but Washington State's got a good offense. They're going to be able to score points. I think this one turns into a shootout. Should be a close, high-scoring game. Boise State's favored by a little over a touchdown, but wouldn't be surprised if Washington State pulls off the upset. Again, some big plays maybe go their way, a turnover, something like that late in the game. Washington State could possibly pull off the upset here. Next, we got Colorado UCF. This one's at 3:30 Eastern Time on Fox. UCF favored by 14. UCF has looked very solid so far this season. Great comeback win over TCU. That's been their big win. Colorado overtime win over Baylor. Baylor, I don't think it's going to be great this year, but yeah, this is one I think we could see some points. I think we're going to see a shootout here. Over/under kind of suggests that at 62.5. I think it may be even more than that. But yeah, I think we see both teams going back and forth. Gus Malzahn, going back to his Auburn days, sometimes his teams just don't show up. I feel like they will because it's Colorado and, they're going to have a lot of attention. By the way, Colorado kind of a sneaky 3-1 right now. But yeah, UCF, I think they'll score. I think Colorado will score. I think this one could be a close one. Again, I think that 14-point spread may be a little bit high, and maybe Colorado has a shot to pull off the upset here. We got Louisville Notre Dame next at 3:30 Eastern Time. I don't want to go on too big of a rant, but it just really, really annoys me that this game's on Peacock. I'm not going to watch it. I have all my games pulled up so I can go back and forth, and I'm not going to close out of my YouTube TV app to open up Peacock. The only way I might watch this game live is if I pull up a second TV. I'll probably go back and watch a replay of the game, but watching it live, why would you put a big game like this on Peacock? Why can this game not be on NBC? I don't understand that. But again, back to the game here. Notre Dame favored by 6. So you've got two things here. First of all, how good is Louisville? I think they're a solid team, but I don't know how good they are. They looked pretty good against Georgia Tech, who is a decent team, but they haven't really been tested against a good team yet. And for Notre Dame, they've been so up and down, so inconsistent. Even go back to this last game. Struggled in the first half against Miami of Ohio, but then looked pretty good in the second half. Pulled away. I don't know what to expect from Notre Dame. They might be on upset alert. Until they can put it together and consistently look like the same team for like 3 games in a row, they might be on upset alert every single week. But yeah, this is one that I just don't know what to expect. I think Notre Dame's a better team, plus they're playing at home. But Louisville, how good are they? I think this one should be close, and I think it's one that could possibly go either way. And then we've got Northern Illinois, NC State. This one's at noon Eastern Time on the CW. NC State favored by 7. NC State just has not looked good this year. Northern Illinois, we've already seen them upset Notre Dame, so absolutely, you got to put the Wolfpack on upset alert here. I'm not sure if Grayson McCall is playing. I haven't looked into that injury, but the freshman that played against Clemson, he came around and looked okay in that game, can run the football. So this is an interesting one. Again, Northern Illinois has done it before. They could do it again. I definitely think NC State should be on upset alert. And then finally, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, noon Eastern Time on ESPN. Kansas State favored by 4.5 points. This should be a good one. Oklahoma State's had some issues at the line of scrimmage so far this year. Against Arkansas, against Utah, Alan Bowman has been very inconsistent. If he plays well in this game, though, I think Oklahoma State has a real shot to win it. And then for Kansas State, I think the key is going to be stopping the run. I talked about it preseason. Avery Johnson really has not proven anything to me as a passer. A lot of people argued with me. Well, we saw it against BYU. He was not good throwing the football. I still think he's got to get better there. So Kansas State, if Oklahoma State can make them one-dimensional, they're going to have a real shot in this game. Both teams coming off of tough losses. Kansas State playing at home. Which way will this one go? I think it could go either way. So yeah, for sure, put Kansas State on upset alert. I think that's probably the most likely upset to happen here in Week 5. So what are your picks? Who do you think should be on upset alert that I didn't put in the video? Let me know down in the comments below.